Most of my family were teachers or school administrators. Both my grandmothers, my father, mother, aunt, both brothers, sister in law, cousin, and wife, and now our daughter are or were teachers. Our holiday dinners often included what was going on in our schools and the funny stories from our kids. When our daughter was visiting home from college, she did not want to attend where her dad was a chairperson of the education department. We informed her we had a present for her. She was excited, of course. What would it be? She was a little crestfallen when we pulled out a copy of Harry Wong's First Days of School. Who but a couple of teachers would give a book like that to their child? Harry Wong is an advocate of good procedures and starting the year with structure and routine. His book is written for classroom teachers, but his thoughts apply for principal planning the first days of school in August. In my opinion, the first steps of instructional leadership are the creation of a calm, orderly, safe, pleasant school atmosphere where great learning can occur. Efficient routines and procedures lead to a great start of the year. Strong routines should almost run themselves and not require a lot of principal or secretarial effort to administer. My goal in August was to open the doors and begin school. In this module, we will look at school-wide student management as written in the student handbook. The development of a student handbook should involve all stakeholders in the school setting, including the students, teachers, parents, and administrators of the school. The student handbook is a guide for a principal and all staff to help create a positive learning environment for all students. Student input to this process is critical, and as you will see in the video provided in this module, there are several ways to involve students. Many different details are included in a student handbook, and I believe the video provided in this module shows three main components that could be useful for evaluation of any school handbook. Let's take a look at the three components outlined in the video, which are also the three components you will use to evaluate your student handbook in your school setting. The student rights and responsibilities section should detail the rights, responsibilities, and procedures the school will utilize to provide a safe and positive learning environment. The information on students' rights and responsibilities are always based around one key concept, and that is due process. The concept of automatic consequences does not exist. A student always has the right to explain his or her side of the story when it comes to disciplinary situations. The key is whether or not the actions of the student are disruptive to the educational process established in the student handbook. There are also required portions of a student handbook that state the rights and responsibilities of students and parents in the due process involved in a program in school. These required components of a handbook are dictated by federal programs such as special education, title, and others that identify what is to be put in a school's student handbook. The positive behavior supports mentioned in the video deal with interventions as well as the awards and incentives involved when students either perform or do not perform up to the standard and expectations of the school. One of the key phrases you will need to remember with this section in a handbook is the building of relationships with students as it relates to their behavior. Rewarding positive behavior and high standards of achievement in academics and organizations should be emphasized in the student handbook. Many think of the negatives or the consequences that exist in a student handbook, but I would challenge every principal to create more of a balance when it comes to including the positive reinforcement of expected behavior in a handbook. Positive reinforcement will be just as much an important factor in guiding student behavior as the consequences listed in the handbook. This is where you could involve the students in outlining possible positive reinforcements. For example, ask them, how can we encourage them to be in class on time? What do students value? The third part of the student handbook is a student code of conduct section, which outlines the consequences of actions appropriate for the school setting. It is important in this section the inappropriate actions are clearly defined and directly aligned to school board policy. I can't say that strongly enough. The consequences listed must follow school board policy. The last thing you want to do is assign a consequence not supported by board approval. The critical part of a principal's job is to analyze this code of conduct on an ongoing basis and make sure the alignment to the board policy is in place. An effective method for this ongoing analysis is the documentation of possible revisions to consider as the year progresses in order to remember the changes that may need to be made. The alignment to district policy will avoid any unnecessary legal action that the principal and or the district may be involved with down the road. Many school handbooks will look very different from each other, but there are common threads in all handbooks. These commonalities may be stated differently, but I believe the video in this module portrays them very effectively. It is key as we talk about different types of handbooks that you learn from each other about the best ways to present any of the information given in this lecture or in the video you watch in this module. And as Harry Wong would say, the most important part of a person's education is the first day of school, not graduation day.